Imagine waking up to a world where a new nation emerges right next to India. Yes, you heard that right. America is allegedly planning to create a new Christian country by breaking apart Bangladesh. This isn't a wild conspiracy theory but a claim made by none other than Bangladesh's Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, in a speech on the 24th of June, 2024. She directly accused the US of planning to establish a new Christian nation near Bangladesh by offering her a deal, hand over St. Martin's Island, and America would ensure her victory in 7th January 2024 elections. Sheikh Hasina's allegations raise many questions. She claims that the US offered her victory in the national elections in exchange for St. Martin's Island. When she refused, the US allegedly started planning to create a new nation in that region. This revelation is not only concerning for Bangladesh but potentially disastrous for India. According to various reports, this new country might involve parts of India's northeastern region as well. Think about it. The US has a history of creating problems in other countries for its own benefit. We've seen this before, and now it seems like history might repeat itself. Just a few days ago, I made a video decoding America's expansion strategies, which you can watch by clicking the I button after this video. The US infiltrates regions where it sees an advantage, changes the political scenario, establishes puppet governments, and often the countries involved don't even realize what's happening until it's too late. In April 2023, Sheikh Hasina stated in the Bangladeshi parliament that the US wants to end democracy in Bangladesh and establish a puppet government. Her allegations seem to hold some truth. For instance, in the past 5 years, the US has never invited Bangladesh to the Democracy Summit. The US didn't even consider the last 2 elections in Bangladesh to be transparent. In 2013, the US removed trade benefits for Bangladesh under the Generalized System of Preferences. Now, they are accusing Bangladesh of human rights violations. It's clear from these actions that the US is not happy with Bangladesh. But it wasn't always like this. If you analyze the relationship between these two countries deeply, you'll see that the US initially offered Bangladesh the carrot. At one point, the US considered Bangladesh its most important partner. In fact, the US was the biggest investor in Bangladesh. They even celebrated the Golden Jubilee of their bilateral relations a few years ago. So, how did this friendship turn into enmity? To understand this, you need to grasp the US's personal interests in the region. The US has a pattern of entering regions for its benefit, often under the guise of protecting democracy or maintaining law and order. This time, the US's interest lies in St. Martin's Island. This is the same island the US offered to help Sheikh Hasina win elections in exchange for. Benefit number 1, countering Cox's Bazar. It's no secret that the US considers China its main rival today. Geographically, St. Martin's Island is very close to Cox's Bazar port, which is under China's control. China developed Cox's Bazar, and if the US establishes a naval base on the island, it will gain the upper hand in the region and keep a close eye on China. Benefit number 2, entry into the Strait of Malacca. The importance of the Malacca Strait cannot be overstated. About 60% of global trade passes through this route, including 75% of China's oil trade. It's also crucial for China's energy security. If this point is blocked, China's industries would choke. The US has been aware of this for a long time. In 1988, they set up a base at Singapore's Changi port near the Malacca Strait. But this base has 2 major problems. First, it's at the exit point of the strait. In a warlike situation, if the US wants to block Chinese shipping, the ships would almost have crossed the Malacca Strait into a region dominated by the Chinese Navy. Second, China has proposed the Thai Canal to Thailand since 2015 to reduce its dependence on the Malacca Strait. If Thailand builds this canal, it will cut down China's shipping distance by 1,200 km, saving time and fuel. The Thai government initially rejected this proposal, but in 2020, their parliament started studying it. The US realized that sooner or later, China would get this route through its influence or checkbook diplomacy. That's why the US is desperate to establish its presence in the region. Benefit number 3. Since India's independence, the US has always sided with Pakistan. They even refused to share terrorist GPS coordinates during the Kargil War. The US needed a pliable ally in Asia, and Pakistan fit the bill. But when Pakistan turned out to be a failed state, and the US needed a developing power like India to counter China, they started improving relations with India. Under the leadership of our astute External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, India has been smartly leveraging this situation. For example, during the Russia-Ukraine war, when the US asked us not to buy oil from Russia, we still did. Even though buying Russian gas funds the war, the US couldn't impose sanctions on us because they need us. Given this situation, the USA's only option is to establish its presence in the region instead of relying on allies like India. To achieve these goals, the US is exploiting religion. If you look at the regions around St. Martin's Island, India, Bangladesh, and Myanmar, you'll notice significant unrest in recent years. Myanmar experienced a coup, Manipur has been burning for a year, and the Kuki Chin tribe in Bangladesh regularly clashes with the Bangladeshi army. These clashes have one common element, the Kuki tribe, who are Christians by religion. Connecting the dots, Sheikh Hasina's claim that the US wants to create a Christian country seems plausible. If true, this will have severe negative consequences for India, as we are already seeing in Manipur. We've seen the US use such tactics countless times. For example, in East Timor, the US combined two countries for its benefit and then split them apart when it no longer needed them. In 1975, the US knew the USSR's influence in East Timor was growing, and it wanted dominance in the region. So, they supported Indonesia to invade East Timor, causing unrest for 20 years. 2/3 of the population was wiped out, and eventually, East Timor became a separate country with a majority Christian population, increasing US influence in the region. The global dynamics have changed, and the US is desperate as its puppet countries abandon it. Recently, Saudi Arabia, once the USA's biggest ally, rejected the dollar. I've explained why the USA's situation is deteriorating in another video, which you can watch by clicking the I button. Let me know your thoughts on this topic. What steps should India take to counter this conspiracy? And finally, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insights like this.